This video focuses on the introduction on language programs and policies in a multilingual society. Terms to ponder. The following are the terms to remember relative to the succeeding discussions on language programs and policies in a multilingual society. Language diversity. This reflects the existence of the multitude of languages spoken in the world, which is variously estimated at between 6,000 and 7,000 languages. Majority language. This refers to the language that's usually spoken by a majority of the population in a country or in a region of a country. In a multilingual society, this language is generally considered a high-status language. Bilingual or bilingualism. This pertains to one's ability to speak another language aside from one's primary language. Official language. This is a language that is given a special legal status in a particular country, state, or other jurisdiction. Language of instruction. This refers to the language used for teaching the basic curriculum of the educational system. Majority language. This pertains to a language spoken by a smaller number of the population of a territory. Mother tongue. This is a traditional term for a person's native language, that is, a language learned from birth. National language. This is the officially designated language of a nation or country, usually for cultural and/or ethnic reasons. Bilingual education. This refers to the use of two languages as mediums of instruction. Language learning. This is where the grammar, vocabulary, and the written and the oral forms of a language constitute a specific curriculum for the acquisition of a second language other than the mother tongue. Linguistic rights. This protects the individual and collective right to choose one's language or languages for communication both within the private and the public spheres. Multilingual education. This refers to the use of at least three languages, the mother tongue, a regional or national language, and an international language in education. Language policy. This is designed to favor or discourage the use of a particular language or set of languages. Many countries now have policies designed to protect and promote regional and ethnic languages whose viability is threatened. Mother tongue instruction. This refers to any form of schooling that makes use of the language or languages the children are most familiar with. Multilingualism or multilingual. This is the ability of an individual speaker or a community of speakers to communicate effectively in three or more languages. Philippines and its languages. Philippines geographical location. The Republic of the Philippines is an archipelago made up of 7,107 islands located in the Southwest Pacific Ocean, about 800 kilometers off the Southeast Asian mainland. The island group is bounded on the east by the Philippine Sea, on the south by the Celebes Sea, and on the west and north by the South China Sea. It has a land area of 298,170 square kilometers. Terrain is mostly mountains with narrow to extensive coastal lowlands. Philippines and languages. Ethnologue reports 171 living languages spoken by different ethno-linguistic groups. Its 8 major languages include Bicol, Cebuano, Hiligaynon, Ilocano or Iloco, Kapampangan, Pangasinan or Pangasinense, Tagalog, Waray or Samarnon. Philippines regional languages. Philippine languages are divided into subgroups. First, 3 groups considered to be closely related to each other: Northern Philippine languages, Meso-Philippine languages, and Southern Philippine languages. Other 3 groups are more distantly related to the previously mentioned languages: Southern Mindanao languages, Sama-Bajau languages, and Sulawesi languages. Philippines national languages. Executive Order 134/1937 proclaimed adoption, development, and use of national language. National Language Institute 1936 recommended Tagalog as basis of national language. Use of Filipino as official name of national language declared August 13, 1959 through Department of Education Order No. 7. 1987 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines mandates that national language is Filipino and further provides that for purpose of communication and instruction, official languages are Filipino and until otherwise provided by law, English. Issues and concerns. The article written by Micah Beacon and published by British Council PH in 2015 reads, "Proficiency in the language is also one of the country's strengths that has helped drive the economy and even made the Philippines the top voice outsourcing destination in the world, surpassing India in 2012. This influx of foreign learners of English is also on the rise due to the relatively more affordable but quality English as a second language or ESL programs being offered locally. However, in the recent roundtable discussion organized by the British Council, key stakeholders from the government, academe, private and non-government sectors acknowledged that even if the Philippines is doing fine in terms of English competency, concerns on how much of a competitive advantage it still is for the country were raised. The stakeholders agreed that the country needs to step up its efforts in improving the teaching and learning of English, developing it as a vital skill of the workforce. This is an initiative that could potentially strengthen the Philippines' distinctive advantage in this part of the world, particularly with the upcoming ASEAN economic integration." The article, written by Vicente Rafael and published by Rappler in 2015, reads, "The Ghost Month of August is also celebrated as Buwan ng Wika. It is dedicated to propagating the national language, Filipino, at a time when there has been ongoing debate as to its future in the curriculum of higher education, thanks to the reforms being contemplated by the Commission on Higher Education, or CHED. Those who teach and advocate the wider use of Filipino see CHED as strengthening its place with the current proposals to abolish its teaching as a language at the university level in the coming years. Instead, universities would be left to decide which courses would be in Filipino and which is English. Claiming that without proper protections, Filipino will not be able to match the sway of English among students and fearing the loss of their jobs, teachers of Filipino have been fierce in their oppositions to such proposals." An Inquirer article written by Matthew Rayshon Cruz, published in 2019, reads, "According to the Summer Institute of Linguistics, or SIL, the Philippines has 183 living languages, almost 96% of which are indigenous. The SIL lists 11 of these are dying, while 28 are in trouble. 2 Aita languages, the Kamay Agta and Villaviciosa Agta, are already extinct. But the actual number of threatened languages remains a mystery, as no detailed and systematic census has been administered to test the SIL's research in these communities," said Jesus Federico Hernandez, a professor at the UP Department of Linguistics. Such vitality testing is a costly undertaking that would require the government's funding and priority, he added. That would be an essential first step towards determining which languages are most on the brink of irreversible collapse. An article by CNN Philippines published in 2020 reads, "The Philippines suffered a 7-spot drop in this year's English Proficiency Index released this week by international education company Education First. Despite placing 27th in this year's list, the Filipinos have been given a high proficiency rating with a score of 562 out of 700. The EPI was based on the results of English tests administered by Education First to 2.2 million adults from 100 countries and territories in 2019. Education First described the high proficiency band of English language as those countries which can make a presentation at work, understands TV shows, and read a newspaper. The Philippines also holds the second highest English proficiency in Asia, behind Southeast Asian neighbor Singapore, which finished 10th in the list. For the past 4 years, the country has been declining in the EF English Proficiency Index. It was placed in the 13th spot in 2016, 15th spot in 2017, 14th spot in 2018, and 20th spot in 2019. During the 2018 Program for International Student Assessment by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, the Philippines ranked the lowest in reading comprehension among 79 countries with an average reading score of 340. The global survey showed that 1 in 4 students isn't able to complete even the most basic reading task, which OECD said could mean they may struggle in their lives while living in a digital world.